What's up everyone? Travis Health, fitwarehouse.com, travishealthtraining.com. Got another video for you guys, again progressing on our knees. And even if you haven't had a surgery, these are just some exercises that you can incorporate into your training regimen that will, I don't want to say prevent knee injuries or trauma, but they will greatly improve and reduce the risk of injuries should they occur in a non-contact or contact situation. So should you ever become injured, the likelihood of you returning to form better and beyond is obviously going to be a lot greater. Last couple videos we addressed quad sets and then quad sets with extensions and things like that. What we're going to do now is assume that you've progressed to a point where you can complete hundreds of repetitions. I'm not going to say what that number is. Again, your physical therapist, your orthopedist, they're going to have an idea in mind. They were the ones that were actually in there performing that surgery. And again, have had the type of protocol that they have set outside for you. But that being said, you know, I have gone through this myself. I know exactly what it is that I did. I know what I felt. I know what speed bumps I ran into. I know what I did to get over those. So I think the things I'm able to share with you from my own experiences can maybe better help you out than what's just a standard protocol on a sheet of paper. And I used to move on to the next progression when I could repeat hundreds of reps and have that 200th rep look like the very first one. So I didn't do more is better, but throughout the course of the day, any free second I had that mindset, I am going to get better. And you've got to have that mindset, obviously, if you're an athlete and you've researched and you've Googled these videos and you've looked these up and you've made the comments, which I greatly appreciate, then you're doing that same thing. So this next exercise progression is again based off that quad set, based off that extension, and what we're going to do now is something that will start adding some peace of mind to you guys, because at the end of the day, weight is weight, and as athletes and as being in the gym and as being those enthusiasts we are, we want to start having some type of resistance and external loading. What I have is a simple ankle weight. These were popular, have always been popular. A lot of times these get misused, but they do have their place in the training community, and obviously rehabilitation is one of them. This is a 10-pound weight. Each one of these sacks weighs 2 pounds. I believe 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I believe. I could be wrong. Nonetheless, you're not most likely to be able to do all 10 pounds. While it may not seem like a lot on any other day, given the fact of what you just had done and what you're recovering from, it's going to be a lot. Remember, we can always progress and go up. We don't ever want to have to go backwards. So start small and progress from there. Once you complete the desired number of repetitions or what it is that you're told, add weight and move forward and progress. I started out with 2 pounds, and honestly, it kicked my butt. And I was a little embarrassed at first, but I started seeing the progress. I started seeing how quickly it was that I was able to start adding some weight and getting more repetitions and having that 200th rep look like that first one. A couple different things you need to know when putting this on. If you're having a lot of tension or a lot of pressure at the knee, we know, I don't perform leg extensions, by the way. A lot of the exercises that I'm going to show you are going to, they're going to take the place of leg extensions. I'm not saying that they're necessarily bad. I think they have their place if used properly with the right type of protocol. We've all done them. I, like any other high school kid, would see how much weight I could do on a leg extension machine and run the stack and things like that. And that may or may not have led to, you know, injuries or, you know, damage earlier on to my knee. I'm not quite sure. But leg extensions honestly just weren't the thing for me for my recovery process. So when doing this exercise, we want to have as little tension as possible. So when we have, and I could be wrong, I may have to go look this back up. It's been, again, a little over a year since I looked this information up. But when we have that leg extended and we have roughly 10 pounds or 20 pounds at the ankle joint when the leg is fully extended, it's equal to about 40 to 60 pounds of pressure at the knee. So we don't want that knee fresh off of surgery having that type of load, having to support and stabilize right then that much weight. So what we want to do, if you're just now starting to add weight, is maybe place it higher up onto the leg, maybe closer up to the knee. All right? So you get it up as high as you can, make sure it doesn't slide out. So if you see I have it maybe about 3 inches or so below my knee, I set that quad, my toes dorsiflex, nice and tall, my abdominals are braced, and it comes up and I hold, and then it comes back down. I relax, I repeat to my desired number of repetitions. A simple progression, instead of adding weight, could just be to slide the weight down. You may want to keep track of where it's at on your legs so that you can just see what it is that you are doing in regards to where it's at. And then from there, once it gets down to the ankle and you perform the number of repetitions, you maybe add a little bit of weight and again start at the top and work your way down until you can do the desired number of weight for desired number of repetitions. A lot of weight here is not important. The most I ever went up to, I believe, was 10 pounds, maybe 12. And I would probably do somewhere between 250 and 500 reps throughout the course of my day. And another thing to note was I didn't just pay attention to the knee that was damaged. I also went ahead and worked the left side just because I wasn't as active, which was tough, and you guys know this. So the muscles do atrophy. And depending on the type of procedure you had done, and again, the other variables that are involved that I mentioned in other videos, depending on how much time you spent in the immobilizer itself can be anywhere from 5 to 16 weeks. It just depends on what it is you had done. I initially was told that I was going to have to be in my immobilizer for 10 to 12 weeks. That was not hard. That was not easy to take. It was very hard for me to take to know that I was going to have to be in that. I beat the odds. I only had to wear that thing for 5 weeks, but just the amount of atrophy that I had, not just in my right leg, but in my left one as well, I was very, very surprised. So I'll address it in future videos, how long it took for that mass to come back and what you can possibly expect. But to stay on topic with this video, start small, put the weight up near the top of the knee, complete the desired number of repetitions, slide it down, complete your number of repetitions, working your way toward the ankle. Once you've completed those number of sets and reps, you can then add a little bit of extra weight and repeat the process. Once you're done with all exercises, it's also important to know that this is a simple rule of RICE, rest, ice, compression, elevation. You've got to get that ice down. You've got to make sure it gets its adequate rest. If you're going to rehab it again later on in the day, you're going to want to make sure that you're doing the right types of things for it to recover. Another thing to keep in mind too is just like when you're training, the muscles, those muscles aren't built in the gym. Those muscles are built while you're resting, while you're recovering, while you're eating, while you're sleeping. So this knee, whatever knee it may be, those type of tissues, those type of tendons, those things are going to take while you're resting, while you're recovering. So you don't want to go more is better. And if you are going to rehab again later on in the day, you do want to do the rest, you do want to do the ice, you want to do all those things, making sure you're taking care of it. Make sure you leave your comments or any questions you have till the next video. I appreciate it. Talk to you guys soon.